Robert Wickens and Tommy Milner made their mark in the DXDT Corvette at IMSA's annual trip to Long Beach. Since that horrific accident that nearly took his life back in 2018, Wickens has displayed incessant determination to retrain body, mind, and racecraft in a way that is so inspirational that I can't even think of the proper words to describe it. But as he displayed with his 2023 championship and numerous victories in IMSA's Pilot Challenge Series, his goal remains the same as it has always been through his entire career: to be the best. So, as he, Milner, and the DXDT crew arrive at Long Beach, their intentions are clear. They are here to win. Qualifying, however, didn't go to plan, with Wickens incurring damage when he encountered traffic, forcing him to start back in 8th position in this ultra-competitive GTD category. So, as Wickens warms his tires around this pace lap, he, Milner, and the rest of the DXDT crew have a huge amount of work to do to drag themselves back to the front of the field where they know they belong. And as he lines up 2 by 2, this GTD field makes its way through the tight hairpin turn, with Wickens looking to take the green flag on the next chapter in his storied racing career. Out of the hairpin, and he slams the hand throttle as this GTD field hurdles down Shoreline Drive and makes its way across the start-finish line to start this 1 hour and 40-minute race. The Mercedes and Lexus up front are already going side by side around this tight street circuit as the Mercedes tries to ease its way past in the braking zone for this tight left-hander, but the 34 Conquest Racing Ferrari goes wide through turn 1, and Wickens has already gained 1 position as the field funnels down into the tight fountain turn, and the Lexus kicks up dust as it does a bit of yard work through this right-hander. We can already see how challenging this race will be, because not only is the competition so tough in this GTD field, but the circuit itself is a real challenge, and any small mistake that Wickens make can lead to a massive, massive accident. So he has to be millimeter perfect with every application of the throttle, brake, upshift, downshift, and turn of the steering wheel. Through this fast right-hander, Wickens makes it look nearly effortless, but I can promise you it is anything but that. With most racing drivers, we describe their driving style as a ballet of footwork. But with Wickens, it's more like a grandmaster playing the piano. We can see he has a throttle and brake on either side of the steering wheel as he makes his way through this left-hander into the tight right-hand hairpin. And that's in addition to the paddle shifters and, of course, steering the car as well, and the clutch when he's stopped. So, as he makes his way onto the front straight, he grabs the throttle with his left hand, talks by pushing a button with his right hand, and also tries to chase down the cars ahead of him. That is so much work to do and so much mental skill required to control this car. But if anyone is up to it, it is surely Robert Wickens. But this race is a little bit different for IMSA because it's only 1 hour and 40 minutes, and with the fuel tank lasting just over an hour, Wickens pulls into the pit lane after only 35 minutes of driving to hand over to his teammate, Tommy Milner. And because this first stint is so short, this pit stop is going to be the fastest stop of the season for all of these IMSA teams. So that means this driver change is going to be especially critical as we see Wickens preparing himself to pull into his pit box. He pulls to a stop, releases his belts, and is pulled out of the car as quickly as possible, with Milner throwing away his seat insert and jumping in as well, with Wickens being taken over the wall after a successful first stint of his IMSA career. Milner quickly gets himself buckled into his Corvette and pulls away from the pit box because every millisecond is critical around Long Beach. With them stopping so early, they're going to have to put in fast laps to try to undercut the cars ahead of them. And as Milner releases the pit lane speed limiter, he is quickly back on track as he still tries to buckle in his seatbelt. He misses a shift, but is able to turn in with just his left hand to the first corner and gets back up to speed quickly as he has lost a position to this number 45 Lamborghini of Trent Hinman. Milner pokes his nose into the mirror of the Lamborghini to let him know that he is here and looking to make his way past as quickly as possible as they make their way through this long left-hander that leads into the tight hairpin. The Lamborghini takes a slightly defensive line with Milner trying to square up the exit to get a better run onto the front straight, but that Lamborghini just pulls away slightly under acceleration, with Milner trying to stay in the draft of that 45 car to try to make a move into turn 1. But we can see as they make their way down the straight that the strength of this Corvette isn't the straight line speed, but rather the cornering ability, and he closes in the braking zone for turn 1. We can see how much quicker Milner is, but there is just absolutely nowhere to go around this tight street circuit as they make their way through the fountain turn into this medium speed right-hander. Milner clips the apex curb on the right-hand side as Lamborghini gets a little slide on the exit as Milner clobbers the apex curb, taking every inch of road possible as he tries to maximize his exit and carry as much speed as possible onto the straight. He pokes his nose up the inside of Lamborghini into this tight left-hander. They go side by side through the apex with Milner sliding on the exit, but the Lamborghini is holding tough on the inside and able to fend off Milner for the time being. But we can see on the right-hand side that is giving the 120 Right Motorsports Porsche the opportunity to make its way past as well. Milner now has to defend from this number 120 car, who shuffles him back to 12th position in class as he makes his way past Hinman as well. 2 positions for 1 for that right car as Milner follows the 120 through, getting past Lamborghini, but stuck behind this Porsche through the tight hairpin. They say you can't pass at Long Beach, but Milner and the 120 Porsche of Elliott Skier are proving that very wrong with this incredible GTD battle. And as they make their way down the front straight, we can see that once again the Corvette is close enough to be in the draft, but not quite able to gain on this Porsche ahead, as Skier doesn't even need to defend into turn 1 and is able to hang onto the position. As he runs slightly wide, Milner has more speed through the apex, but once again just nowhere to go as they make their way through the fountain section with that Porsche sliding around on the exit. We can hear the flat 6 roaring just out front of this Corvette as Skier slides, going all the way up to the wall, maximizing the track, but he slides slightly wide once again through that right-hander, using all of the road on the exit. He holds a defensive line into this tight left-hander. Milner weaves around in his mirrors, trying to distract the Porsche driver, who runs slightly wide on the exit. Milner has a run coming out of the corner, goes side by side on the entry. The Porsche has the inside line, but Milner looks to get the better exit as he puts the power down. The Porsche is now on the outside, with Milner having a nose alongside. Now they're door to door. Milner has hold of the inside line and the position as he makes his way through the apex. But with these cars fighting out on track, others are trying to execute their pit stops as quickly as possible. Although Milner has been able to work his way through the cars he fell behind, the cars that were yet to pit have been able to gain on this number 36 Corvette. So Milner has to hustle down this front straight as he tries to catch this number 66 Ford. And as the Ford exits the pit lane, we can jump back aboard the Corvette and see it is just ahead of this 36 Corvette. Although this Ford is ahead, Milner has the hot tires and has to take advantage as quickly as possible. We can see just how slow that Ford is through the fountain turn. Milner tries to sneak up the inside into this tight right-hander, but just is not able to do so. And the 120 Porsche goes up the inside past Milner, but drifts wide, and Milner takes him back on the exit. It is wheel-to-wheel racing in this GTD category. The right Porsche squeezes up the inside through the apex, but Milner on the outside line is able to hold on to the position as he tries to make his way past the 66 Ford. He dives up the inside with a lunge on that Ford, who also falls behind the number 120 Porsche. With Milner charging his way through this field, it is the opposite for the 66 Ford, who is under attack from the GTD cars behind. Trent Hinman looks to go around the outside into the right-hander. The Lamborghini is just not quite able to gain the position as the 70 Ferrari squeezes past Hinman and tries to make his way past the Ford as well. Milner leads this battle pack through the tight hairpin and onto the long front straight as the Ferrari versus Ford battle rages behind. But with this stint continuing, Milner's charge continues as well, and he catches the cars in 6th and 7th position. That's the 32 Mercedes, which is battling the 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin as they make their way through the fountain turn. The Aston Martin is on the back foot with the 32 car, looking for a way past, but it's just so challenging on this circuit. Through this fast right-hander, you can see the Aston Martin is struggling on the exit and takes a defensive line into the tight left-hander. The Mercedes looks for a way past as Milner is passed by the race-leading number 7 Porsche GTP. The 32 Mercedes has the run on the exit, but the Aston Martin defends all the way to the inside. The Mercedes holds him to a tight line. They are both compromised on the exit, and it's Milner who has the run on the corner exit. The Mercedes has gotten past the 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin, but Milner is looking for a way past the Mercedes. and Milner looks around the outside, but the Mercedes is able to hold him off. He looks around the outside through this left-hander as well, but the Mercedes drifts wide. Milner is on the inside, which becomes the outside through the hairpin. The Mercedes is able to hold the position through the apex, but runs wide on the exit. Milner has the better run coming out of the corner and has the position. But as we know, the Corvette is strong through the corners, but weak on the straight. And as the straight continues, you can hear that Mercedes come rumbling past as they go wheel to wheel, banging doors down Shoreline Drive as they head into turn 1 and are passed by the 6 Porsche. Milner brakes incredibly late into turn 1 though, even later than the GTP, and is able to fend off the 32 Mercedes and claim 6th position in the GTD category. But with just under 40 minutes remaining, we can finally, at least momentarily, take a breath because the safety car has come out, which allows Tommy Milner to catch up to the GTD cars ahead. So, as they work their way towards the hairpin and anticipate the green flag, Milner is within touching distance of a GTD podium. As he looks around the outside of the 57 Windward Mercedes through the hairpin, he is wasting no time as he attempts to restart his charge through this GTD field. And as they make their way across the start finish line, it is Rexy Porsche leading the 2 Lexuses, followed by the 96 Turner BMW and the Windward Mercedes, which is just out front of this 36 Corvette. So, with Milner tantalizingly close to a GTD podium, he will have to make quick work of the Mercedes and BMW up front before he can put pressure on that Lexus, which is in 3rd. But as we know in racing, as you move your way up through the field, the drivers get more talented, the cars get faster, and it gets more and more challenging to make overtakes. So getting past these 2 cars is going to be no easy feat as the Windward Mercedes slides wide. Milner has a run and looks around the outside into this tight left-hander. He brakes as late as humanly possible, but the Mercedes has the line and is able to hold on to the position as Milner once again falls in line behind this 57 car. With Ellis having fended off Milner, his focus now switches to getting past the 96 BMW. And as they make their way down Shoreline Drive one more time, the Mercedes is firmly in the draft of that 96 car. Ellis puts his nose on the outside of the BMW into turn 1, but switches in the braking zone up the inside of the BMW as he squeezes past through the apex, shuffling that 96 car back to 5th position and firmly in the crosshairs of Tommy Milner, who does a bit of yard work through the fountain turn, maximizing every inch of track possible as he tries to catch up and then pass this 96 car, which gets a bad run onto Seaside Way. Milner is now firmly in the draft of the 96 car, but straight line speed is not his strong suit. He looks around the outside into this tight right-hander, but is not able to complete the pass as he falls in line behind the 96 car. Foley is clearly struggling aboard his 96 BMW, but is doing just enough to stay ahead of this 36 Corvette. With his straight line speed disadvantage, Milner is going to have to get a bit creative to get past this 96 car. Through this fast uphill right-hander, Foley uses every inch of road on the apex and the exit as well to maximize his run through that corner and stay ahead of Tommy Milner, as we can see GTPs now coming past these GTD cars. This could be the perfect opportunity for Milner to make his way past Foley. As the BMW GTP passes the GTD through this fast right-hander, his exit is compromised. The Cadillac nearly gets into the back of a 96 car, and Milner has a run on the exit as he tucks into the draft of this BMW. But he just isn't quite close enough as they make their way into the right-hander. He pokes his nose around the outside, but Foley easily fends him off. Milner once again looks around the outside through this long, tricky left-hander, but Foley is just ahead. Milner throws it up the inside, though, with a lunge and squeezes his way past through the hairpin. An unconventional but aggressive and effective pass for this 36 car as Milner moves up to a top 5 position in the GTD category. But if we look back at the replay of that incredible pass, unfortunately, through the apex, Milner made contact with the 96 BMW, and that tore up the left rear bumper of this Corvette. So, with the IMSA officials throwing the black and orange flag and requiring this Corvette to pit for repairs, that puts an effective end to their incredible run through the field. Now, I am sure that for Wickens, Milner, and the rest of the DXDT Corvette crew, they were incredibly disappointed with this result. But I hope they left the track with their heads held high, because I can honestly say this was one of the most competitive GTD fields I have ever seen. And they showed that they could go toe-to-toe with the best that IMSA has to offer. So I just can't wait to see what this team can accomplish. And if you made it this far, I can't wait to see you in the next video. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting. I want to give a special shout out to my channel members. Thank you guys for all the love and support. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.